he gets to be in the best possible situation for JR. He's not going to have to be a starter like he was in Cleveland. He's not going to have to play 28, 29 minutes a game. He's going to be able to come in and have 16 or 17 impactful minutes, and if he can lock down and play good defense as well, he might be able to work in some more minutes towards the end of the fourth. So I like J.R. Smith here. I think that's a great fit. Now let's go into kind of contender-wise, because all over the league it really hasn't changed much. There's not that many other players that are big impact players that have said that they're not playing. Kyrie Irving's a completely different story that I really don't want to get into, but so the league has pretty much stayed the same, with the addition of Bradley gone off a major contender like the Lakers and JR being added to the Lakers. So the number one question that I've been getting asked is, does this sway my opinion that the Lakers are going to win the NBA championship? Does this hurt the Lakers in a way that they might now fall below the Clippers? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The Los Angeles Lakers will be just fine. I think LeBron James is the most mentally stable and mentally tough player in his era right now. I think LeBron will not only have his team ready to play when it comes return of the season, but I think he'll snap into playoff mode earlier rather than later. I think he's going to come in those first 8 games and he's going to show the world, hey, LeBron's here, LeBron's ready to play, COVID did nothing to me, let's go. The reason I have the Lakers taking it all is I don't see a tandem that can beat LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If it was just LeBron James like it was in Cleveland, absolutely I get that. Anthony Davis is a transcendent player. Anthony Davis is a top 10 player in the NBA. They are the only team that has a true maybe top 5 players in the NBA as a combo. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Kawhi Leonard's definitely a top 5, but Paul George, he's around the 11 to 10 mark, right on that outskirt. Not a true top 10. I think there's a lot of players that can slide in for Paul George. Giannis is basically doing it by himself. The Celtics are very well-rounded with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker, but the problem is the Celtics don't have 2 true superstars that can take over at any moment. You have Russell Westbrook and James Harden. I think Harden's a top 10, but Russell Westbrook's the same thing with Paul George. They're very interchangeable on those 10 to 11 marks. So the Lakers have a true top 10 players in the NBA combo. LeBron James has more playoff experience than anybody in the playoffs. LeBron James has more playoff wins, more playoff game winners. And I think this is one of the most complete teams LeBron James has ever been a part of, besides the teams down in Miami. LeBron has Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee. He has Anthony Davis. He has Latavius Caldwell-Pope. He has Kyle Kuzma, which it always depends on which Kuzma shows up to the game. But still, Kyle Kuzma has proven that, hey, he's a problem, especially when they played the Clippers. He's a problem when he has to guard Mo Williams. Mo Williams can't shoot over Kyle Kuzma. He's too big. So Kyle Kuzma has proven he can be a very good impact player. You have Danny Green. I think that's a very slept-on player as well for the Los Angeles Lakers. I just think the Lakers are too well-rounded in their starters and in their stars. I don't think bench is going to play that big of a difference. Everybody always wants to talk about bench depth. Bench depth. That's great, but towards the end of the game, it's going to be starters versus starters. And I don't see a lot of bench depth besides the Clippers and Celtics. And not a lot of people are picking the Celtics to win the East. The Bucks are favored over the Celtics for one reason: Giannis Antetokounmpo. No one can guard him on the Celtics roster. Yes, the Celtics are more well-rounded, and I think the Celtics are an interesting play. And I think the Celtics, if they can get everybody kind of grooving in the right way, I think the Celtics can be very deadly. And the Celtics might have the best overall roster when these playoffs resume. They are very deep. They have a lot of star power in the sense that their team is very star-rounded. They not necessarily have the LeBron James. You have Jason Tatum, who's a star, but you also have Kemba Walker, who's a good player. You have Gordon Hayward, who's a good player. You have Jaylen Brown, who's a good player. So you have a lot of these players that are star on the cusp of being stars, or used to be stars, or are stars. They're just not that big of stars. So I think the Celtics have a very interesting roster, especially resuming with all that depth. But I don't see depth playing a major factor like the Clippers versus Lakers. I don't see it meaning that much in that situation. At the end of the day, it's going to be Kawhi Leonard versus LeBron James, Anthony Davis versus Paul George, and Anthony Davis wins that battle 99.9% every time. So I definitely have the Los Angeles Lakers taking home the trophy this year. I think Bucks are definitely going to be who the Lakers play. I don't think the Bucks are ready for that. I think the Bucks are 1 star away from being a team that is nigh to unstoppable. They have the size, they have Giannis, they have Chris Middleton. They really need one guy, and I don't know who that guy would be, but they really need one guy that can be another shot creator. So when they make Giannis take nothing but 35-foot three-pointers, now you can go to your other star who can go get buckets. That opens up Giannis to be able to drive. So I have the Bucks versus Lakers in the championship. I have Lakers taking it all. I'm going to go with a hot take here. I'm going to go Los Angeles Clippers lose to the Houston Rockets in the second round. Now, we don't know for sure what the matchups will be. It's projected that if everything basically stayed the way it was, that the Los Angeles Clippers would probably match up with the Houston Rockets in the second round. I think Houston is deadly and scary for the Los Angeles Clippers more than the Lakers. I don't think that the Clippers really have a shot against the Lakers outside of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both going off for 45 every night. I don't think Kawhi's shown that enough over his career, and Paul George is always kind of terrible in the playoffs, to be honest. If you go look at his track record, doesn't usually shoot a very good percentage, has a lot of turnovers, very injury prone. Except for the 1 year he was with OKC, I wasn't a big fan of Paul George in any playoff situation. But hear me out with the Houston Rockets Clippers series. I think James Harden and Westbrook are a problem. I think James Harden, depending who guards him, whether it's Kawhi Leonard or if it's Paul George, I think he's going to get those guys into foul trouble very quickly. James Harden is a master at getting foul calls. And guess what? James Harden shoots over 90% from the free throw line. You don't want James Harden going to the line. Now, I know James Harden has not had a very good track record when it comes to the playoffs, but I think a lot of it was mentally Golden State. I think that if James Harden gets to go up against somebody like the Clippers, I think his mindset's a little bit better. I think he's in a better space mentally. He's not going up against Golden State, who has continually knocked him out year after year. So I think you have a more focused James Harden, and then you have a straight psychopath in Russell Westbrook. That man's going to take 39 shots a game, but Russell Westbrook's still going to have, at the end of the game, 31 points, 14 rebounds, 14 assists. He's a human triple-double. I think Russell Westbrook is definitely an upgrade from Chris Paul. Now, I thought Chris Paul was a better player with that Houston team, and that Houston team definitely should have exceeded what they did and definitely should have beaten the Golden State Warriors a couple different times. But Russell Westbrook's going to bring a type of energy and a type of presence that Chris Paul couldn't. Westbrook's really going to push the pace down the Clippers' throats. He's going to make Kawhi Leonard have to chase him around. He's going to make Paul George or Patrick Beverley constantly have to chase him around. The problem is Westbrook also draws a lot of fouls. So what happens when you have your 3 top defenders all fouling out? Or all with 5 fouls with 5 minutes to go. Then they're going to play timid. Their style changes. It's not necessarily Kawhi or Paul backing anybody down. Now it becomes a completely different style of Clippers basketball, and I favor the Rockets. So definitely when these playoffs get going, if this is a matchup, if the Clippers do get to play the Rockets and I am right, someone owes me a Diet Sun Drop because I love Diet Sun Drop. I'm going to pull a little Skip and Shannon here. Instead of Diet Mountain Dew, I'm going to go with the Southern theme and go with the Diet Sun Drop. But that's my hot take. But I think overall it's not going to matter. I have the Lakers winning it in 5. I think it's going to be a poetic end of the season, especially after this COVID, after Kobe's death. I think this will be a poetic ending to the NBA season and a true honor for the Lakers to host that trophy for Kobe. All right, and now on to our final subject of the day. The MLB is back. July 1st, the MLB is resuming workouts, is resuming training. The MLB is on its way back to us, which doesn't shock me because there's been Little League teams going all over ballparks in America playing. So the fact that the big boys in the MLB have been arguing about playing has been quite ridiculous. If little Johnny can go out there and play freaking T-ball, I think you grown-ass men can go out there and play some baseball. You'll be fine. But July 1st, it was all about fighting. The players wanted 70 games. The owners wanted to pay for 60 and play 70, and then they came to an agreement. I think they're stuck on 62 games now, which is fine. That's all. First off, if that's all the MLB season was, I'm completely fine with that. If you want to hear me rant about the MLB and rant about what I think the MLB can do better in order to, keep people interested, keep fans engaged, make the season not 200 years long, you can go over and check my bonus content on the Levi Bowman podcast. I had a beautiful rant about that this past week. But I'm just glad MLB is resuming. I think it's going to make not only a lot of people happy, but I think it's going to get a lot of people engaged, only being 62 games. The shorter the season, the sweeter the moment that season's around. Why do people love the NFL? Because the NFL is 17 games. Well, this year they're 17 games. That gives people very short, 17 Sundays or Mondays to enjoy their team before their team goes away for a whole 5 or 6 months. And some of you not so good teams, you ain't going to see your team for up to like 7 to 8 months. So, but we as fans get to enjoy the NFL because it's like a holiday. It's like, what do you tell your buddies? OMG, it's football season, boys. It's football season. Fantasy football, it's fun, it's engaging. Why? Because it only lasts a certain amount of time. It's not a year-round thing. The NBA, I think, is slowly going to figure this out, and they're going to resume the season on Christmas Day. Guess what, NBA? Brilliant move. You will get more fans, more viewers, more engaged fans this year than you probably ever have in the past 10 years. I'm not advocating for baseball to go down to like 35 games, but what I'm saying is drop it to 100. Not 135 or whatever it is, but drop it to 100. Take those 30 games off. Give people a break. Let people enjoy baseball, not be smothered with it. I mean, for God's sakes, if you're a fan of the Yankees, you're playing Monday, Tuesday, break Wednesday, play Thursday, play Saturday, play Sunday, and at the end of the day, even Yankees fans, who are the most diehard psycho fans besides the Boston Red Sox, even they tap out halfway through. When you're not, there's very few stadiums that sell out all over the league in the MLB. You have your main franchises that basically run everything. The Red Sox, the Yankees. You have franchises like that really keep everything afloat and they keep the standard for their city. But then you have the smaller markets like the Marlins and the Astros up until a few years ago were the same way. And these people aren't the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, these people aren't selling out every single stadium. So just trim it down a little bit. You'll save a lot of these owners in these smaller markets, save them a lot of cost. They can put that money towards building a better stadium or halftime entertainment between each inning. I don't know, put a magician out on the mound. Just do something that doesn't make baseball as boring to watch on TV because it's a blast in person. But I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. Like I said, if you do want to hear my baseball rant, it is going to be on YouTube. I'll make sure the links are attached to everything. So make sure you're following me on my social media. If you don't know what that is, go back to the beginning of the podcast where I told you my social media, and you'll hear it at the end as well. So that way you can follow me and stay up to date. I've got some funny videos coming out. So let's go ahead and plug that right now. But anyways, I'm just glad the MLB is coming back. I'm glad that they came to an agreement. I think 62 games is a perfect amount of games to keep the fans interested, to let the fans have their season. I think everybody knows that this year has been awful and weird, and just a glimpse of hope. Even if you come back and you play 10 games, you're still giving people something. I love how the NBA only did 8 regular season games to start before they go into the playoffs. Just give us something. Don't just go straight into the playoffs like the NHL is talking about. Give us something. So congratulations, MLB, on coming back. I'm stoked. I can't wait to watch my Cubs not do that well this year. But, us Chicago boys, we got to hold it down. Go Cubs, go. All right, guys. Well, we have come to the end of our program today. We do have a couple things to talk about real quick before we end it. First off, the UFC and Fight Island is on its way, so be prepared. We have some UFC guys getting ready to come onto the show. Very excited about that. One is a local star from Nashville, Tennessee. So once he gets done with his training and gets